Yeah. Hey, I think we're live, rocking and a rolling. Just getting my windows in order, as it were. Hey, Mofo, and hello, Ernie. Oh, whoops! I've just made one mistake that I have to fix. Cool. Okay. There's always one thing that I don't get sorted properly, but I've done. Hey, Ernie. I'm glad I'm your boy. Um, yes. Mofo, yeah, that's the big topic in Australia at the moment. It's in his family values. His family values are I can tell other people what they're allowed to do and use family values as my justification. And I can also fuck someone on my staff and tear my own family apart, apparently. Hey, Charlie, how's it going? I mean, that whole thing has been very weird. The pendulum has been swinging back and forth. Like, as soon as the story basically broke last Wednesday, not yesterday, a week ago. And as soon as I heard it, I thought, okay, he's in some big trouble here. That's before I found out that he'd given his staff a job. The person he was fucking, he made sure they had a taxpayer-funded job in someone else's office because it was all a bit much when everyone found out they were fucking, couldn't keep working in his office. Hi, Toby. And Charlie, did I say hi? I hope I said hello. But yeah, and then there's sort of Barnaby tries to dig his heels in, and the sort of swell of negativity towards him grows for like 3, 4 days, and then government stupidly decides to dig their heels in, and they're back in Barnaby is clearly on borrowed time. You don't have to be a genius to see this is going to torpedo him. Hi, Tara. Yeah, and they went with a ridiculous line about, well, it's not against our code of ethics because we only talk about family members or your partner. And while he was just fucking her on the side, she wasn't his partner. Like, yeah, job done. Congrats to the staffer who came up with that strategy. Like, because that's literally the worst strategy I could think of going with. Like going with, yeah, look, people are saying it's an ethical problem because he's fucking someone on his staff and then got her a good job, which seems like nepotism or corruption. But we say that's only nepotism if it's a family member or your official partner. She wasn't his official partner. She was his bit on the side. She was the one he was banging in his office after hours. Yes, that clears us on all moral grounds. Oh, for fuck's sake. Hey, Stella. um, as the dumbest defense. Like, how does someone come up with that as a defense? It does my head in. Hi, Tendai. Channeling some Jackson 5 there. Don't blame it on the sunlight, moonlight. Blame it on the good time. Blame it on the weekend. Okay, I would blame it on the boogie. Ernie, what do I think about establishing a state for Aboriginal people? Not an expert in the area. It honestly doesn't sound like a good idea to me. Uh, I'd be more in favour of guaranteeing Indigenous people a certain amount of representation in our lawmaking uh, because they've been very brutally discriminated against for the last 2 centuries. So going some little way to redressing that would be good. Uh, I'm not down with the whole idea of ethno-states, so that honestly doesn't sound like a good idea to me. And I don't know who, if anyone, is seriously promoting it. So I'm not really qualified to make a call further than it doesn't sound like a great idea to me. Ernie, do I believe in affirmative action? I believe when you can see a clear pattern of prejudice and preferential treatment and disadvantaging of other people that cannot possibly be supported by the merit argument, then, you know, the free market or governments in and of themselves have not given everyone equal representation, have not given everyone equal opportunity. And that's when you need, whether you want to call it affirmative action or anything else, I think as when you do need it, when you can see, it's like, okay, 99% of the people on the board of companies in Australia are white men. And it's like, okay, there is no way that's just on merit, because if you gave everyone a level playing field and advanced them on merit, there is no way that 99% of the time the person advanced purely on merit would be a white guy. Okay, so there is lots and lots of evidence that any talk about, oh, people just get promoted on merit is a complete fucking lie. It simply isn't true. So taking an approach like affirmative action is clearly necessary in a lot of cases, because people simply refuse to admit to their prejudices a lot of the time. They're not even conscious of them a lot of the time, but the evidence is right there. Toby, what am I drinking? Some lemonade that possibly has some rosewater vodka and bourbon in it, which is a kind of version. I looked this up. Cocktail called Spring in Paris. So it's kind of that. Hello, Chris, and a happy late Valentine's Day to you. Oh no, Stella had to go for bad internet. Tendai, did I see the NRA saying stop making fun of Cheeto in chief? No, look, I honestly tried very hard to pay as little attention to the NRA as possible, because it's depressing and frustrating. Toby, the idea I had, because I wanted to get rid of something I had a little bit left of that I'd had for ages, and I just wanted to get rid of it, and that was rosewater vodka. Let me go just do that. Okay. Yeah, I made some rosewater vodka, and the reason I did that was actually Mrs. Angry's idea when I was coming up with flavors, because my kids occasionally like to do cooking. You know, like baking sometimes, like cakes, biscuits, and sometimes meals. And for one of the things they make on a semi-regular basis rosewater. Rosewater essence was an ingredient. So I bought a bottle of rosewater essence, and then went to make it another time, and they thought we didn't have any, so we bought another thing of rosewater essence, and then we bought a third one. So we ended up with 3 bottles of rosewater essence that had each only had a little bit used. I thought I want to use them up, and because these cooking essences are about 40% alcohol anyway most of the time, and rosewater's nothing, so they mixed rosewater with vodka, and it's good. It's a good mixer. But I looked up online, like, what's a good rosewater cocktail, and there's this one, and it basically suggested vodka and bourbon, or they were saying rye whiskey, which purists will argue is not the same thing as bourbon. But I thought, ooh, I will try that. And try it I did. And it's not bad at all. The rosewater is probably the strongest flavour in there. Something here. Kicking. Just kick. I can't spell that well on my finger slipped. Obviously, I know that's not how you spell checking. But yes, typos. I'm not I don't know if anyone can tell, I'm not a touch typer. I do this. Although the weird thing is, because I've spent so much of my life typing, because my day job, I have to write up documents So I do a lot of typing, and I've still never learned to touch type, which you know, if I was at all sensible, I would have. But I've never learned to touch type. But I'm really fast with 2 fingers. And the weirdest thing is, even though I'm not really looking, I can tell when I've hit the wrong key without seeing it on the screen because it just feels wrong. Like I can tell when my finger slipped and I've like hit more than one key and I know it's wrong and they go, yep, that was wrong. So even though I'm not a proper typist, um, I've gotten pretty good at the 2 finger. Yes, as you say, Chris, the chicken peck, also called huntsman peck. Something. Tara, you had to sort out the kids. Fair call. I sorted out dinner. I got everything out of the way. Made sure everyone had dinner and dessert, so I could hang out in the kitchen. Made some butter chicken tonight. When I say made, I prepared some chicken and marinated it for a bit with some ginger and garlic, and then cooked that. And then I got a jar of the butter chicken stuff from the supermarket. I didn't use all the herbs and stuff and build it from scratch like some master Indian chef. I opened a jar and poured that in. But I took a bit of trouble with the chicken, and I was happy with it. Oh yeah. Toby, reminds you of the angry grammar videos. They were fun to do. Yes, I've done. I'll just do them again. I don't think people would remember them. Yes, I've done so many videos over the last 12 years. I think I am this year in about May or June will be my 12th anniversary of my first upload on YouTube. I think. I wonder if I can check that. Where can I check that on my YouTube channel? I think it will be 12 years. No, it will definitely, yeah, it will be 12 years. It will have to be. I'm just thinking of related events and when they happen. That's how I sort of remember various things, related events. And yeah, it will be 12 years this year, which is odd to say the least to spend 12 years doing something like this just for fun. Hey, Miss Foxification, how you doing? Well, that sounds good, Tara. Mixing stuff up, just rice, tuna, cheese, diced tomato. I was making this stuff last office I worked in. I'd make these sandwiches. I'd like get a fresh baguette from this roadside store, but I would just get it'd be like onion, capsicum, mushroom, and what else? Tomato. So it's basically just those ingredients: capsicum, onion, mushroom, tomato, and cheese. And I oh, thanks, Miss Foxification. You checked. I joined in June 9, 2006. So it will be 12 years in June. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that is very weird to have done this for that long. Yeah, but I would just cook this thing and yes, I love sandwich presses because you can cheat, put some like kitchen paper down on that and melt a bit of butter and you can sort of saute the vegetables before you put them in the sandwich. But then I was in a place where they had a full-on stovetop in the kitchen, so I had a little fry pan. I'd saute the veggies before putting them on the sandwich and then cooking that in the sandwich press. And people were acting like I was like a master chef, some kind of genius or whatever. And I was sure they're like, it's like 3, 4 ingredients. Like the cooking part was 3 ingredients. It's not difficult, but because most people just bring something from home that they microwave or buy some lunch. The fact that I went through this whole process of chopping up an onion, chopping up a capsicum, chopping up mushroom, and doing a little saute and then putting it in. People were treating me like I was some master chef. Oh my gosh. RC, that's really funny. You're doing a Know Your Enemy thing, listening to a far right podcast, and they were going off about me. I mean, seriously, don't they have something better to do? And my cocktails upset them. I upset the Nazis with my cocktails. Oh well. I should, man, if I want to upset them with my cocktails, I should invent names for them. I should, like, call call a cocktail the affirmative action. Call one the feminist paradise. Yes, okay, that's it. This drink, which I've just invented, which is rosewater vodka, bourbon, and lemonade, is called Feminist Paradise. Oh my god, I almost made myself laugh. I have to explain. This is my absinthe, a red absinthe that I often, sometimes I make where it's the centerpiece of the drink, but often I put a little bit in a drink and I sort of dribble on the top and it starts to blend down and you get that nice effect. And because absinthe's a really strong flavor, and you just put a little bit in, it really changes the flavor of a drink. I was just thinking of the feminist paradise. I pour some red on the top and have it running down, and then I changed the name of it to that time of the month. I'm a bad person. I'm a bad person for thinking of that. I'm a bad person for laughing at my own joke. Oh, cool. Tara's got a new guitar amp. That's pretty cool. Okay, yes. Good names for cocktails. Charlie, you're on the money with male tears. It would have to be something salty. That would have to be something salty. Maybe, like tequila with a salt-rimmed glass and call it male tears. Charlie, that's brilliant. Tendai, fash bash. Maybe that with a bit of red, because that'd be fascist blood running in the gutters. Yeah, fash bash would be another good one. Oh my God, RC, they're upset about my cocktail book. I'm collapsing traditional Western masculinity. And they went to, this cracks me up. Like all these girls who are traditional Western masculinity. Oh, everyone's doing something. They're so insecure and weak and easily triggered, to use their word. It's just like the slightest thing makes them lose it. And it's like, boys, you are so sad. Oh, misfoxification, the Wolfenstein would be another good one, because suddenly it's bad when the Nazis are the bad guys. Tara, you're right. You cook with just bits and pieces. Well, I like the way this tastes. I like the way this tastes. Nice, Nathan. Drinking water out of a replica Alcatraz prisoner cup you got in San Fran. Hey, the first time I went to San Fran, which was quite a ways ago, God, over 20 years ago, I went to Alcatraz, and biggest surprise I got is it's not like on The Rock, that Nick Cage, Sean Connery film where you're forced to stay with a group. You just get off the ferry and you just wander around and do whatever you want. There are organised tours, but no one keeps you in a tour group. You just wander around wherever you want. When I was there. But yeah, I found Alcatraz quite interesting. So much folklore about Alcatraz, and like the prison authority stuck with their line that nobody successfully escaped from Alcatraz, because a few people escaped the prison walls and were never seen again. And the prison authorities said, well, they died, they drowned in the bay and whatnot, so they didn't escape. But because no one found a body, because the body get dragged out to open sea and bye-byes, there's always folklore about, oh no, good old Jimmy the Weasel, he changed his name and ran a diner in Arizona for 2 decades after he escaped. That's the thing, when you don't have a body, people can come up with their folk tales, conspiracies, if you want to call them that. But I feel like I should grab a pen and write down some cocktail ideas. Oh my God, I'm going to do it. If they're upset at me making cocktails, I'm going to do some in a video, be deliberately provocative just to wind up. I love you people. You give me such good ideas. Letter T. More cocktails and send them to you. I You can't send cocktails in the mail. I see, Jimmy the Weasel. That's probably a real criminal's name. That just popped into my head. Jimmy the Weasel. Ah, you want to do drunk ASMR? Definitely. Okay, I'm gonna grab a pen. There's probably a pen just here somewhere. Or is it pencil? That's fine. Okay, so I'm okay. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna do these videos where I make deliberately provocative cocktail names. Oh, Tara, a cocktail with sperm in the name. Maybe what I could do, I've got a white chocolate liqueur there. If you dribbled that through something, it'd probably be disturbingly reminiscent of semen. Cocktails in the mail, Tinder, you can, okay. I've seen these in bottle shops. Some bottle shops do have like pre-packaged cocktails. They're in little jars. You could mail them. I'm just saying I don't think I have the facilities to mail them. So another one named after breast milk. Oh, Seth, I see what you're saying there. And look, there are people in any political movement or any social group that make others look bad, taking things too far. People, if you watch this later, you won't see Seth comment. Seth said he thinks some people on the social justice warrior side make people who want progressive change look bad, talking about microaggressions. The interesting thing about the term microaggressions, which is not one I use, but it has a very specific meaning that's been subverted. And I actually could be wrong, because again, it's not a term I use. My understanding of the proper use of the term microaggression is where something like, you're not punching someone with aggression, but it's like an act that is not overtly attacking someone, but you are excluding someone. It's just making assumptions about people because of their race, religion, sexual identity, and like you're not doing something that's like, you didn't make like a Jewish joke, but you did something exclusionary and insensitive, like saying, hey, here's the thing, we're all going to get together as a team building exercise and do shots. Maybe someone on your team's a recovering alcoholic who can't drink things. Maybe someone's a Muslim who, according to their faith, can't drink, or a Christian sect or a Jewish sect that or a Buddhist, I think there's Buddhists who won't drink alcohol, but someone who, because of either their life or beliefs can be hurt by it. As it, Pickaway, you're saying SJWs are desperate to dictate behaviour. See it? No, I'm going to say it. You're full of shit. You are talking utter garbage. You're making a straw man argument that simply isn't true. What you're saying, the different way of doing things, you need to be shut down. That's what the alt-right do. Anyone who doesn't fit in their narrow parameters of what's acceptable behavior is told they can't do it. It's the fucking conservatives who try to control what people can and can't do. Oh, what? You're going to take a knee before a football game as a non-violent protest against endemic racism and abuse of power by the police? Oh, it's an affront. I need to destroy your life. So fuck off with that bullshit. You are talking utter fucking garbage. It's conservatives who try and control what other people do. Well, pick a leech. I'm going to go out on a limb. I think it makes, if you think someone who's into social justice restricts you, I'm going to, oh, you think it's a bit harsh to say you're full of shit? I think you're a cunt. I think you're probably a brain-dead, shit-suffering, shit-sucking, racist, bigoted piece of shit. I think you're a worthless fucking cunt. How about that? I think you're a worthless, weaselly piece of shit. You're arguing in bad faith, and you're a lying fucking wanker. You're a coward and a loser, and you can fuck off. Okay? There's one thing I really have no time for is cowards and hypocrites who argue in bad faith. They are absolute fucking losers. Objectionable thinker. I have definitely seen people who claim to be progressive who on certain topics won't have conversations. Okay? I'm a big believer. I mean, unless someone's an outright Nazi, someone's out preaching violence and genocide either on ethnic groups or religious groups or sexual identity groups, then I think you can have a conversation. And I've definitely seen people who talk about being progressive who won't have a proper conversation about particular things. But I'm not going to stand around with some worthless, obviously racist, bigoted, right-wing troll goes, SJWs want to shut everything down. No, fuck you. Fuck you in your shitty little weasel life. Just fuck you, okay? The one thing I won't do is let lying little fucking toe rags just spit out their talking points and let them go unchallenged. Because that's the one big thing with these loudmouth, oh, right, fucking neo-Nazi shit stains. They're fucking cowards and they won't back anything they say. They won't argue in good faith and they are a waste of fucking time. And that's the thing about, why do you block people? Why do you block people? Because they're a waste of time. Okay, someone was raising the point that some people who call themselves progressive won't have conversations. Like, I ended up blocking someone like that. I made a video just after David Bowie died because a few people were pushing, oh, how dare you say David Bowie was a great artist and whatnot, because he did these bad things. Like in the 70s, he was part of a scene in LA called the baby groupie scene. And this is a real thing. And it's creepy as fuck, where even these like young girls, like 12, 13-year-old girls, their mothers would push them on these rock stars. And Bowie did have sex with at least one of the baby groupies. It wasn't an extended thing, but he did do it. It is a bad act. It is a criminal act. It's an indefensible act. But I'm not going to bury Bowie's entire career because he did this shitty thing when he was very young in the 70s. I won't defend it. It's indefensible. It's criminal and immoral and wrong. But then I was just saying, like, I'm not going to, there you go, Charlie Laurie Maddox, that was the name. I'm not going to bury Bowie's entire career because he did this shitty thing when he was young and new to the whole game in LA. I won't justify it. I won't excuse it, but I'm not burying his whole career. And I had this one woman, she's calling herself a feminist, really attacking me in comments on my videos saying, that's not good enough. You have to reject him together. And I said, no, I don't. And I'm not going to. And she's going, no, you have to. And I went, no, I don't have to. If you think that way, that's how you think. I've made it really clear. I don't think that way. But she was doing this thing like, you have to. And then, and this was a bit of a stereotype in that she did say, like, she's going to tell everyone I'm not a good feminist. Apparently, there was going to be a secret meeting of feminists where I was going to be outed as a bad feminist. And and I was like, cool, do whatever, but shut the fuck up because I'm not talking to you anymore. And she wouldn't shut the fuck up. So I blocked her because it was boring and stupid and pointless. And that's why I block people. When people are boring, stupid, and pointless, I block them because there is nothing for me to gain when someone goes like that, whether they consider themselves left-wing, right-wing, moderate, centrist, whatever. If they do that, then fuck them, okay? Now, admittedly, 99 times out of 100 or 999 times out of 1,000, it's going to be a right-winger that I block, but not exclusively. That's the one that I always remember. Letter T, thank you for saying I'm sexy. There. Well, Major Frostjump, I think you're a fucking moron, okay? Stop about feminists. I hate feminists. Fuck you. If you say something like that, I think you have, I don't know, you haven't emotionally and mentally developed past about 12, okay? I think you're really fucking stupid, okay? Grow the fuck out. Don't, you're just spouting brain dead, shit eating, right wing talking points. And it's absolutely meaningless to me. I don't give a shit that you're that fucking stupid. All feminism means is equal rights, okay? And that includes good, and you can argue good feminists and bad feminists, and everyone's going to have slightly different definitions of what that is. Feminists I associate with, feminists I spend my time with, are equally about not having stupid, unfair, patriarchal bullshit pushed on men. Not saying men have to be the breadwinner. Men are always bad. Men should never have custody of children. If someone who called themselves a feminist said any of those things like men are bad and evil and burn them, that is not someone I'd associate with. You know, the whole radfem movement. I got no time for them at all. Tendai, you could be a social justice alchemist. There's a joke I liked, a D&D joke about, why are you all social justice warriors? Why don't you mix the classes up? Where are the social justice clerics? The social justice assassins? All that sort of thing. You got to mix it up a bit. Letter T, fantasize about me in the shower and on the toilet. My wordy, after I had some burritos, you wouldn't be having some fantasies about that. And, hey, look, I'm completely okay. Major Frost. Okay, you will definitely get people who call themselves feminists who say dumb things. But what I will not tolerate for a second is someone vomiting out right-wing talking points and saying dumb, stupid shit like feminists are bad, feminists are bad. No, feminists are good. And the good feminists are as supportive of men as they are of women because we're all in this together, okay? And yes, you definitely get people who call themselves feminists saying dumb shit, but I'm not going to let ridiculous bullshit, brain dead, right-wing talking points go unchallenged because fuck that noise. Same reason, I'm not going to let any of the radfem bullshit go unchallenged. Like when they talk about, oh, all sex work's rape, all sex work's suppression, I go, talk to some sex workers and they go, no, they have no agency. It's like, no. As soon as you start saying these people have no agency, it shows you don't understand this situation. Or the radfems who actively exclude trans women from any discussion of feminism. Or just, you know, it's the insult that gets thrown about white feminism. You do see these cases of particularly well-off white women who don't seem to consider women of other races or other societies when they're pushing. Ugh, objectionable thinker. Okay, straight up, you're not a thinker, you're a fucking child. Why do they call themselves egalitarian instead of feminist? Because men didn't have to fight for their rights. Women did because women had no fucking rights, you brain dead little fucking turd. Okay? Christ or fuck. It's almost like as soon as someone calls themselves the objectionable thinker, it's like, no, you're just an objectionable little child who doesn't think, who spews out stupid fucking talking points, and you're pathetic, okay? Grow the fuck up. You think that was an intelligent thing to say, obviously. You think you just put in a big zinger there. Why don't they call themselves egalitarian instead of feminist? Because they are a reaction to the ongoing oppression of women, okay? That's why they're feminists, because that's the primary fight. Oh, grow the fuck up, you stupid fuck. We're in the Western world. Women don't have equal rights. I just said, if all you're going to do is churn out pathetic, brain-dead, right-wing talking points, you're a joke. You're pathetic. Oh, my God. It's just like, again, it's like, I'm sure you probably jacks off to fucking Richard Dawkins books as well. Oh my fucking God. That is so, it's like, you're like a flat earther. It's like, but I look at the horizon and it's flat. How could the earth be a globe? You're saying something that is so fucking stupid. How the fuck does anyone respond to it? It's just stupid. Yes, Major Frost, I do love to swear. There's no getting around that. I'm sweary McSweary pants. Yes. Wow, I've gotten diverted. Harry was telling me about the podcast. Was it Jaha? I don't know. I'm getting distracted all the time. Oh, for fuck's sake, you stupid brain dead little turd. The sad little boy. I mean, it's just like fucking hell. What rights do women have? It's just, you're too stupid. Okay, you don't want to have a discussion. You want to regurgitate your pathetic talking points that you picked up on a subreddit, and you think it makes you clever. You think it makes you intelligent, but you're actually just so stupid. It's a complete waste of time engaging with you. You're not going to listen to anything. You're just not. You're so obvious. It's, again, the other thing that bugs the shit out of me are these little fucking neo-Nazi trolls. No, you're not asking for a direct discussion, you brain-dead little turd. You're not. You're just regurgitating talking points. You're not going to listen to where women don't have the same rights, the way they don't get the same job advancement, the way they're subject to violence on a daily basis, the way they're subjected to abuse on a daily basis, all things that men don't have to put up with. I mean, you don't care, okay? You think you're sly and clever and constructing an argument. I've seen you and your pathetic ilk a million times, okay? You're a waste of fucking time. You're a worthless little fucking slug. It's just, my God. This is the thing that bugs me about these little fucking dweebs who get their politics from Reddit and think it makes them smart. And it's like, I can fucking see you a mile off, okay? My God, you're pathetic. Objective thinker. Men suffer violent attacks more than women. From men, you fucking muppet. You utter fucking muppet. Jesus fucking Christ. It's just like the same stupid, worthless talking points every fucking time. Major Frost. Let's change the subject. What do I think of the Turnbull government? I think they're going down the toilet. The whole Barnaby Joyce thing is dragging them down. It's ridiculous. I mean, a guy who said he could dictate other people's lives because of traditional family values and trotted his family out saying it's to protect my family, while at the same time as he's doing that, he's fucking someone on the side. And then they're trying to pretend there's nothing wrong with giving his girlfriend a cushy taxpayer-funded jobs. It's like, yeah, no, this is taking you down, motherfuckers. Dottie, I like that. You've got tickets to the Comics Lounge in North Melbourne for Saturday. Anyone want them? Read a good home, so not objectionable thinker. Yeah. Hey, Megaleech, how's it going? Sorry, I like that misfoxification. The right wing is like a reverse human caterpillar. And hello, Celtic King. How are you? I'm on a bit of a tear now. Seth, you think economic social class hierarchy device? Look, I think politics is intersectional. I think there is no one thing. That's why I like the idea of intersectional politics. If someone says they're feminist but never addresses class issues or race issues, I have problems with that. If someone talks about class but doesn't address race or gender or sexuality issues, same thing. If someone is only focusing on one things and cutting out the intersection of other issues, I think that's a problem. Catherine, jobs are easy to come by. why don't you just get in a job canon? Oh, for fuck's sake, you pathetic little child. Why don't you listen when I said stop regurgitating the same pathetic talking points? It's just you're boring, okay? And you're gone because you're boring. It's like, I want to have a discussion. No, you don't want to have a discussion. You want to vomit up these same stupid fucking talking points. And you don't care how often they get refuted. Like, women get less time than men for the same offense. That is A, not universally true. That's cherry picking of cases. B, when it happens, particularly, and there have been cases of judges making stupid statements that they actually are specifically going soft on this criminal because they're female. That's the fucking patriarchy. That is the fucking patriarchy. Oh, I fucking deleted in Celtic King. The patriarchy is saying men are rough and women are soft and gentle. Women must be treated like soft, gentle things. Men are big and rough and don't have feelings. So that sort of stupidly preferential treatment of women is patriarchy, not feminism. This is the blows my head. It's like, you know, the same dumb talking points of, but men get victims of violent crime. From men. Men are the ones committing the violent crimes. Okay? For fuck's sake. If we address the same root cause of why women are being murdered by their domestic partners every week, then it's the same root cause that results in men being the target of violent attacks. Like, oh my fucking God. They're just, those fucking talking points are so stupid. And they say, I just want to have a discussion. No, they don't want to have a discussion. They just want to say the same boring shit again and again. And they don't listen to a goddamn thing. Major Frost, look, I have to admit, I think talking about contentious issues at work is a bad idea. I mean, work is work as far as I'm concerned. I mean, yes, I have conversations with people at work. But if I sense a conversation going into an area where, yeah, I'm just going to tell someone that I think they're thick as shit, I'm not going to do that at work. I'm going to get out of the conversation. So, yeah, people who try and have contentious discussions at work, I think that's a bad idea. So, yes. Yeah. I like what you're saying, this foxification, that if you can't debate both sides of an argument, you probably don't understand the argument. But yes. Yeah, so for instance, Major Frost, it's very rare that people in my day job know about stuff I do on YouTube, at least not at first. Because I'm a contractor, so I move around a lot. Um, uh, um, and I'm fine with people who know me finding the YouTube channel. I just prefer it wasn't the first impression they got of me. Because then they expect me to be angry all the time, and I'm just not. Like, everyone who knows me in real life always jokes about how I'm nice in real life. Seth, talking about class hierarchy, meant social class hierarchy from capitalism. There is a race aspect, and yeah, look, I'm an old school anarchist. Definitely about class needs to be part of the conversation. That's why if someone is ignoring that aspect of it, then I don't think they're understanding the full picture. Major Frost, I'm an IT contractor. Yes, so I do exciting nerd things in my day job, system requirements and things like that. This is the one commonality, I guess, my day job has with YouTube stuff. My day job, I'm a communicator. I have to run workshops and meetings and talk to people about what they want out of systems and write up system requirements. So there's that consistent element across, I guess, what I do on YouTube and what I do on my day job. I'm a communicator. Tendai, do we still get to eat the rich? I think that's the plan. Or fucking hang them from the fucking light poles, you know, behead them, bring back the guillotine, public square. So, yes. Oh, God, Tari, yeah, do it. Yeah. Saying you were volunteering at a charity and someone was upset they didn't get to vote on same-sex marriage because they're tired of political correctness. It's like, whenever someone says that, I'm tired of political correctness. It's like, what? You're tired of being vaguely decent to humans? I made you frost. My IT contractor job's good. You milk cows. That sounds cool. I like that. At one point, I worked for National Foods who do flavored milks and yogurts and stuff. And so I had to talk to the people in milk cows. Excellent, Miss Fox. See, that's the big thing. What you said there, you're securing your identity. Feminist, humanist, that's what you need to be confident and secure. Yes. Megaleech referring to the olden days when we swapped YouTube channels, made a video saying Megaleech, I'm going to hunt you down and kill you, but we met up and I didn't kill him. So there you go. Ah, Seth, you do landscaping. Excellent. Oh, well, you say you couldn't afford to get a biology degree, want to be Steve Irwin. Man, it's never too late. Work at landscaping, build yourself up a bit, and man, even do open university for that matter. I'm not saying you have to do it, but you also don't have to give up on it. Ms. Foxification, you are right there about MRAs. There seems to be nothing as fragile as the masculinity of people who declare themselves to be anti-feminist, whether they use the label men's rights activist or men going their own way, or they're just saying they're alphas or they're alt-right or they're whatever the fuck. They seem so fragile and they're so easily threatened. It's like, why don't you see feminism as the enemy? Oh, because I'm not a scared little child. I see the benefits of feminism. I'm not scared of feminism. I made you frost. I get what you're saying. You wanted to do a vet certificate and didn't get time. That's the thing. Doing a degree or additional training, definitely you have to invest years, and it's not easy, and it's expensive as well. But you never have to give up completely. Powerpuff Girl. Okay, here's a person who I suspect isn't going to last very long. I saw your video on African gang violence saying the word is racist. Is different. What I am saying is beyond anyway, on the tiny possibility anyone watching this doesn't know what this little drama is about. Okay. Conservative media and politicians started a blatant lie saying youth crime led by African gangs is out of control in Melbourne. People in Melbourne are scared to go out at night. Oh, African crime. Oh, it's out of control. You have to vote out this progressive government and vote for the Conservatives. It's the only thing that will save us. And that was A, blatantly untrue. Statistically, crime's been going down in Melbourne and Victoria. I think there was a rating of Melbourne's about the 5th safest city in the world, as in big city. So the stories about African youth gang crime being out of control is A, blatantly and provably untrue. B, incredibly obvious racist scaremongering designed to appeal to racists. And if you repeat that lie, if you repeat the lie that we have a problem with African youth gang crime being out of control, you are obviously racist because it isn't true and it's fueled by racism. So if you repeat the lie, you are obviously a racist, okay? And the refusal to admit to it doesn't mean you're not racist. It's still a problem. How is it still a problem? It's a fucking lie. Yes, okay, all crime's a problem. Absolutely, all crime is a problem. And there are some issues in some of the migrant communities where some of the young people are being disproportionately represented in the crime statistics, okay? And that is a complex issue. And there is stuff that people in those communities are the best people to work on, and they do need to work on it. If you repeat the lie, and it is a lie, it is a simple and provable lie that African youth gang crime is out of control. People are scared to leave their house. It's a lie. It's a racist lie. And there is no reason to repeat it unless you're a blatant racist. Okay, Powerpuff Girl, get fucked. The police did not say it. The police are on record as saying this story about the Apex gang and whatnot is untrue. Yes, statistically, 0.1% of the population has been identified in the crime statistics as being responsible for 1% of the crimes. The overwhelming majority of which are non-violent. They are crimes of theft. There have been some very high-profile, scary ones, and that's the simple truth. But saying, well, even the police say, you are lying or you are stupid, or let's just say you're a lying, stupid racist who is repeating stupid, racist lies. It's like the actual number of crimes is so low. You are at far more risk of being on the receiving end of a violent crime committed by every other ethnic group, particularly white men, than you are with African youth. So if you focus and say, African youth crime is out of control, you're a stupid, lying, racist fuckwit, okay? It's as simple as that. You're repeating a lie. The lie is built-in racism. The lie is designed to appeal to racists. It's not true. It's racist. It's stupid. If you repeat it, you're somewhere on this wonderful spectrum of being stupid, lying, racist scum, okay? It's fucking that simple. There's no other way to explain it. The whole story is a lie. It's a racist lie. It's disgusting politics designed to whip up racism. Yeah, you are. Powerpuff Girl, you are a racist. You're a coward. You're a racist. You're a hypocrite. And you're fucking worthless, okay? Focusing on that when it isn't a problem is bullshit, okay? Saying that, and this has been the headlines, and this has been the lies that politicians have said about, oh, the crime's out of control, and it's the African gangs, and it's the youth, and people are scared to leave their house. It's a lie. It's a racist lie. If you repeat it, you're a racist fucking liar by definition, okay? It's that fucking straightforward. For fuck's sake. I mean, I just enjoy saying, Seth, are there landscaping jobs in Australia? Yeah? Yeah, lots of people do landscaping here. Oh, look, getting a visa to work in Australia is really difficult. Or, okay, go the fuck away. Final word to you. Powerpuff Girl, you're a pathetic, useless, lying, racist moron. Fuck off, you're boring, okay? Jesus. How fucking boring are these people? No fucking lives. Shit. I just got a text message, probably saying, you're being a bit what? Sorry, it was actually AIDSy. I'll just let him go. He's going to talk to me tomorrow. Okay. Dotty, I have been theorising that the trolls are the same sad little fuckwit. Yes, that is just... Oh. Ah, Joe, don't want him against arguing. It's, again, a discussion. I'm fine with. But when someone just wants to say the same pathetic lie and the same stupid talking point, there's no point in giving them oxygen. You know, just metaphorically step on their throat. Celtic King, that was fair. He is sad enough to do that. He is sad enough to do that. But what blows my mind is, look, Major Frost, we're having a discussion, I think. I might have been a bit tough on you at first, but you listened and I listened to you. I don't think you are being a troll. I think we probably definitely have different points of view, but that's fine. Man, if you like me when I'm angry, oh, well, yes, okay, no, what, okay. Major Frost, yeah, if you don't know, Bering has some sort of obsession with me. I try to ignore him, and yeah, it doesn't work. I mean, you know, I'm not saying I'm like flattered. Like I get people who comment, you know, guys who I don't know if they're trying to freak me out, saying stuff about thinking I'm sexy and they have fantasies about it. Cool, man. You know, you have fantasies. But A, if you're trying to wind me up and make me uncomfortable, it's not really going to work, but it's all in good fun, so that's fine. B, if you genuinely mean it, it's like, oh, well, you know, hey, if I appeal to people, I'm fine with that. Even if, you know, it's, well, okay, I'm in a long-term monogamous relationship, so I'm not actually going to act on anything from anyone. But yeah, it's like, what did I say? This Fox occasion in a comment recent video with AZ, I said if someone said that to you in an argument, it would disarm me. Oh dear. Joe, well, that was AZ on the phone. He's got a few things going on. I'm probably talking to him tomorrow. Celtic King, well, that's good to know. If Bering is here, we'll let him know that you're playing with your penis. Cool. Probably something he needs to know. Oh, no, Self. Single on Valentine's Day. Yeah, look, treat yourself to a bottle of beer. Speaking of drinking, you know, this is a dry argument, as we say in Australia. Okay, I want to get some ice first. Okay, got to decide what to have. I hope AIDS is okay too, Joe. Is not great. Okay. God, in the previous live stream, I admitted I've been dumped on Valentine's Day, so I feel for you. So we were talking earlier about what cocktails should do. You know, male tears, MRA tears, something salty. Like I've got, but I don't have anything to salt the rim of my glass. I'm glad you're laughing, Major Frost. That's the general idea. No, Celtic King, I'm not a beer drinker. I don't like ale, lager, any of those things. I don't drink beer or wine. I drink cider. Maybe occasionally a bit of fortified wine like port, a little bit of port. Hey, most people drink beer. I'm relatively unusual in that I don't. But yes, we were having a discussion earlier for anyone who missed it. I don't know if Donald Trump is gay. Hi, classy username. Yeah. Yes, I'm doing cocktails going their own way, Miss Foxification. I'm trying to, you know, oh, these are my flavored ones. These are little bits of vodka flavored. Oh, this is a friend, an American friend, sent me a pack of Jelly Belly jelly beans, and they were all themed around Dunkin' Donuts flavored. So it's like chocolate and strawberry and glazed and blueberry and apple pie. And this is chocolate flavored vodka, and it actually has a chocolate flavor. It's got a lot of sugar in it too because it has dissolved jelly bellies in it. So I'm thinking, look, I've got this. Okay, I've got my Solo Extreme Lemon mix something. I think I would go with it. That's too strong a flavor. It'll overpower that. Maybe, I know, I'll make a little bit of a fruity drink. I'm a bit fruity. This, isn't this nice color? I'm not sure how it's coming across. This is very purple. This is cranberry vodka. Soaked dried cranberries in vodka. And yeah, it went quite dark. Oh, Musical Aviator, you got a house party tomorrow. Nice. Anti-Valentine's Day party. Good on you. Oh my God, Seth, you're from Beaverton, Oregon. I have friends from Oregon because when I went to uni, we had an exchange program with a sister campus, which was Oregon State University. And some of them have come out of state here. So I have friends from Oregon. Major Frost, having a beer for me. Good on you, buddy. I'm looking for my measuring thing because I like to measure what I do. Where did I put it? Bloody hell, is it over here? Yeah, I just like to know how much I'm drinking. Okay, so my lemon drink, a little bit of the cranberry vodka. It's gonna make it go brown. Oh my God. Okay, bit more lemon to top it off. I'll rinse out my little measuring jigger. All right, top it up. And I think just to give it a bit of an edge, I'm going to put a bit of my red absinthe, just a dash. Seth, I've never been to Portland, actually. I would love to go. I haven't been in the States at all for quite a few years now. There, see, look, can you see the little, yeah, you can see like the blood red leaking down. Oh, you know what that makes me think of? Because Mrs. Angry was playing, what do you call it? Zelda, Breath of the Wild. This thing with the blood moon. Yes, I've decided on a name for this drink. This is a Blood Moon Rising. Celtic King, you're going to masturbate and think of me. Fucking thumbs up, buddy. I'm all for people embracing their sexuality. I've got Major Frost. Thank you. Well, where do you live, Major Frost? We've got a few people in Oregon. Yeah. But yeah, like people here in Melbourne have meetups. There's a cool thing on in Melbourne this week called White Night that I'm going to with some friends. Dottie, that story, yes. Gavin from the Slow Mo guys and his girlfriend had their house broken into, and she's also a YouTuber. I don't know her channel. They had their house broken into by a crazy dude who wanted to kill Gavin. He was obsessed with his girlfriend and wanted to kill Gavin, but they heard someone break in and they hid in a cupboard and called the cops, and he didn't find them. And the cops arrived and went outside, and the details are a bit sketchy. They said from his car there was one shot. I think he was committing suicide, but then the cops shot him as well. So he said, but yeah, no, these guys literally had someone break into their house to murder them. And I was like, oh my fucking God, that was really hardcore. The Heretic, an AA stream with your morning coffee. Yes. Oh, okay. Major Frost here in Shepparton. Yeah, well, we have we have group meetups for YouTube friends. A few people live in the country areas and occasionally come in for some of our meetups. So, yeah, man, by all means, we always do these meetups. Nathan, when you're in Portland, you couldn't convince your brother to get into the titty bars. They just wanted to indulge in the green, the legal green. That's how long since I've been in the US. There was no legal green anywhere in the US when I was there last. So, yeah. Yeah, look, Major Frost, like if you pay attention to my socials, I'm always talking about when we're having meetups. If you're free one time and able to come in, they're a great group of people. We always have fun. Just hang out, we get a meal, sometimes go out for a drink. They're always a great bunch of people to hang out with. Oh, you took out The Heretic, a horror novel. With one of my friends on Twitter one night, we were just talking, and we started talking about, like what would be a modern technology horror novel, and we were thinking about everything a serial killer could hack into, like your webcam, your Bluetooth speaker, a Bluetooth Wi-Fi printer, and just have this person in their house, like being on, FaceTiming or whatever with someone, and all this stuff starts happening, and it's like a serial killer coming. Like the serial killers hacked their Snapchat, and the Snap story starts coming up, and it's pictures of their back door and then their hallway and whatnot. Then the person takes over their Bluetooth speaker and is playing spooky music, and like a sheet comes out of the printer. I'm going to kill you. Because there are so many things that you can hack into. The Internet of Things is the Internet of shit, quite honestly. So it would be a good horror movie if you were being stalked through all your bloody socials and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Yeah, here's Foxification. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, but with tech. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is such a weird film. But Return of the Killer Tomatoes, where they had a slightly bigger budget, that was interesting. Like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is like the lowest low budget movie ever. But Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, they had a little bit more budget, so they've got some effects in it. It's real. Oh, The Heretic. This is the thing. A story I shared the other day. I got my new computer set up, and I put my old hard drive in it that had a lot of music on it, and so I plugged my phone in and told it, just slurp up every audio file on this computer. I want more music on my phone to listen to. And so, of course, it picked up some stuff that's not music. And one was a conversation I recorded with Aidsy, where I was pitching him a movie idea. And honestly, it was a really good fucking movie. It's not the one I just said. It was another one, but it involved like YouTubers and people being killed because they didn't realize they captured a crime in the background of one of their videos when they're out vlogging in the world. And the person who committed the crime was killing everyone who was involved in the video. And it's got a few twists. It was actually a really good story, if I say so myself. Seth, a random fact, quite a few venomous snakes in Australia are leopards, same family as cobras. That's interesting. There are definitely some Australian snakes who, when threatened, rear up, like a cobra is famous for doing, and some of them flatten their necks a little. You don't get that huge ventral thing like cobras have, but there are some that rear up and will flatten their necks out a bit. So I don't know if they're those ones. I know browns do that, taipans do that. Yes, I should do these movie ideas. The Heretic, saying 2001. That's from the 60s, a movie from the 1960s warning against artificial intelligence. Ariel, you like the idea. Start a GoFundMe so I can make it. It would just cost a lot. That's it. Major Frost, tiger snakes do it. Flatten their necks out. Because I grew up in the country as well. I grew up in country New South Wales. So particularly in summer, you had to be really careful when you were walking around. Because in breeding season, particularly, some of the browns and tigers will get mega fucking aggressive. Breeding season is when they're really aggressive, understandably. But I mean, like, oh my god, my sister's father-in-law was your crusty old farmer. Fuck, he was funny. But in snake breeding season, he loved it because he thought they were really easy to get rid of. He would just wander, like he's in a wheat field. He's a farmer with a shotgun and just making a lot of noise, going whack, 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 hitting these wheat stalks. And an angry tiger or brown would rear up like, what the fuck you? But they've made themselves a target. They rear up and he just blow their heads off. Fucking farmers, man. They're hardcore. I like snakes too, Seth. As a concept, I like snakes. I'm not scared of snakes. I'm just judiciously cautious of venomous snakes, of which we have a lot. and we have about half a dozen that are both venomous and aggressive. I remember as a kid walking along the riverbank in my town, walking under willow trees, and a lot of the leaves had fallen down, so it was really crunchy ground. There were dried leaves all over the ground, and I'm walking along going crunch, 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 and then the unmistakable shape of a brown snake went right in front of me, like this far in front of me. And reflexively, I jumped. And the weirdest thing was, it was a reflex, and I caught onto a tree branch above my head. And I wasn't aware of the moment from seeing the snake to jumping. I wasn't aware I jumped. But then I'm hanging from this branch, and I looked. I was only a couple feet off the ground, but I was like, I can't jump that high. How did I get this? You know, and you're absolutely right, Major Frost. The majority of snakes won't attack unless threatened. Most of the time, they'll try and get away from you. That doesn't stop them from scaring the crap out of me. Tari, saying it's illegal to kill snakes. Yes, no, there are some. I don't think every snake species is protected. And I think like a farmer, just on a safety basis, can kill snakes. I could easily be wrong. But yeah, Major Frost, you make a solid point. In the overwhelming majority of cases, snakes won't attack unless they're threatened. Even in breeding season, they'll warn you. They make a lot of noise and they rear up and they say, go the fuck away. And if you go away 9 times out of 10, they won't chase you. Yeah, they'll make it in breeding season. They'll be a bit more aggressive. Oh, the worst ones are death adders. You don't really get me much, but because almost every snake will try and get away from you when it hears you coming. Almost every snake. The death adder is not aggressive, but it won't move, and so you might not even see it. And if you tread on it, then it will motherfucking bite you. And it's like a dirty trick from this snake, because you don't want to tread on it, you don't want to fucking have a scene with it, but it will bite you. I think, what were we saying? The King Brown is possibly the most aggressive. I think you may be right, Miss Foxification. Oh yeah, Major Tom. I think while I think you're probably right. Even if they're protected, if you kill one on a farm, nothing's going to happen to you because it's a safety thing. But yeah, if you're a city or suburban person, it's just stay, because you do get them in gardens and stuff. He said, gesturing to his garden, which theoretically could have a snake in it. But yeah, 99 times out of 100, they will just try to get away from you. And even if these days, even if they bite you, literally all you've got to do is stay calm. Okay, snake bit me. I'll call an ambulance. I'll be fine. Major Frost, you may be right about the taipan being most aggressive. I remember growing up in Western New South Wales, I was most scared of taipans because I heard bad stories about taipans. Major Frost, you're right, Tendai. I keep saying Major Tom because I've got David Bowie in my head. So apologies, Major Frost, for saying Major Tom. We're back to Bowie again. Seth, I would agree with you. The black-headed python is a very attractive-looking snake. It's a very interesting-looking snake. The scrub python is one that we used to just call carpet snakes. They're a type of python, and they have a patterning that's very reminiscent of like Persian rugs. I don't think it's their official name, but we always called them carpet snakes. I mean, the most venomous snake we have is a sea snake, and I don't think there's even a single case of someone being bitten by it, but you really fucking wouldn't want to be because apparently the toxin's really bad. They're just not aggressive, so they tend to not bite people. But even as recently as the 80s, being bitten by a funnel web spider was a real bad thing. People were still dying from funnel web bites in the 80s because we didn't have an antivenom. I think the antivenom was only developed in the 80s. So now if you get bitten by a funnel web, all you have to do is stay calm, and you'll get treated. The worst thing you do, because the poison, it's not like the old folklore, the whole thing about cutting a vein and so again. Poison doesn't travel your bloodstream. The poison travels in the lymphatic system. So if you're tense and anxious, you'll tighten up and it will actually go faster. So you just stay calm and you'll be fine. Major Frost, ever heard of the mouse spider? I think, yes. No, I have heard of them. They look like funnel webs, don't they? Do they have red on them? Do the mouse spiders kind of look like a funnel web, but they have some red on them? I'm pretty sure I've seen a picture and I found it really reminiscent of a funnel web. Seth, it's very rare, but not unheard of, to see snakes in metropolitan Melbourne. But as you move out into the suburbs, when you get gardens and parks, and if you have creeks or whatnot, the chance of getting a snake in your garden goes up the further out you go in the suburbs. I remember there was a case a couple of years ago, someone right in the middle of Melbourne city got bitten by a brown snake in a laneway. And you've got to go, Miss Foxification. Thank you so much for dropping by. Always a pleasure to have you in here. The theory of how that brown snake got there is it was probably in a packing crate for some food, because there were like restaurants in this laneway getting food delivered. So it's come from a farm somewhere out in the country. The snake's been in with the produce and it's been unloaded, and the snake's been in the back of a truck, and it's wriggled out, and it was just under a box and someone moved it and it's bitten them. Someone in the Melbourne CBD getting bitten by a venomous snake is incredibly rare, but it does happen. Okay, Major Frost, right, yes, the mouse spider is aggressive like a funnel web, but the male's meaner than the female. That's interesting, because I know why you pointed that out, because most of our venomous spiders, the female is the one you worry about. The female's bigger, more venomous, and more aggressive. Yeah, but mouse spiders and funnel webs, I don't want to alienate any spiders that may be watching this stream, but mouse spiders and funnel webs are ugly as fuck. They are the meanest, most threatening looking spiders. I mean, sure, tarantulas are big and hairy and freaky in their own way, but there's just something about funnel webs and mouse spiders that to me is really brutal and aggressive. Like, if a spider could wear a leather jacket, a funnel web would wear a leather jacket and just hang out on a street corner and say, what the fuck is your problem? Because funnel webs are just, I'm just finding a space. And this space might be your shoe. Or if you leave your like jeans on the floor, they'll crawl into the leg of your jeans. And then when you pull your jeans on or pull your boot on, they take that as an attack and they go, They don't bite you once either. Funnel webs are aggressive as fuck. And they'll just go, So, yeah. Oh, Heritage, great. If you the spiders, look, 999 times out of 1,000, spiders won't do anything to you. Charlie, the threat of redbacks is overstated. Like, yes, they are venomous and they find their way into all sorts of cracks and whatnot. Like my brother was a brickies labourer, and when you get those bricks that have the holes in them, it's actually quite high risk that there's a spider living in the holes. And they would semi-regularly get bitten by a redback, because redbacks where I grew up were very common. Funnel webs are more common in Sydney and north of Sydney. You do get some in some of the forests here in Victoria, but they're more common around Sydney and north of Sydney. The fucking tropical funnel webs are big. Sydney funnel web's the most aggressive and venomous, I think. But redbacks are everywhere. And my brother would talk about on the building site, they would get bitten by redbacks on a semi-regular basis. And all that would normally happen is the bite would swell a bit, it would be hot and itchy, and they'd get a fever like they had a cold or something, but it'd go away. But yeah, if you were particularly unlucky, you got bitten by a large redback, which would be a female that had a lot of venom, you could end up in hospital getting treated. Normally, they didn't have to worry about it, but sometimes it would. Ah, David Hill, a classic. There was a redback on the toilet seat when I was there last night. That was a novelty, an Australian novelty song that was a huge hit in the 70s, I think. The line goes, there was a redback on the toilet seat when I was there last night. I didn't see him in the dark, but boy, I felt his bite. Donnie, you have a redback in a hanging basket that you call Jerry. See, I think redbacks look very similar to the American black widow. We call them redbacks because the red stripes on their back rather than the American black widow, the red stripes on the underbelly usually. But they look very similar. I think that's an attractive looking spider, whereas I think fucking funnel webs are just ugly and brutal looking. No, you're right, Major Frost. Male redbacks basically don't bite you. Females are much bigger and will be more aggressive and can make sick. Oh, let us see. You got bitten by a funnel web when you were 3 and almost died? Man, that is huge risk. The people who are still at risk from funnel webs are the very young, the very old, or anyone who has a serious illness, particularly if that compromises your immune system. Basically, you have to be weaker, like be a kid, be very old, or already be sick for a funnel web to be sick. Man, getting bitten at 3 years old, man, I'm not surprised you almost died. No, that's fucking hardcore. Oh, M. Blazer, I love the change of topic. Milo to milk ratio. For those who don't know, because there are people who aren't Australian here, Milo is a chocolate powder that we put in milk, and my ratio of Milo to milk is a fuck ton. I love lots of Milo in the milk, and I love it when you mix it and you have all the crunchy bits on top, and there's still some in the bottom that you can scoop out at the end. I love that. Seth, would I do a cool herp? Oh, wow. Look for snakes with an expert in Australia, something you'd love to do in Australia. Look, that's a very cool idea. I'm just really a wuss, so I'm not sure. But I mean, there are so many of those things you could do in Australia. You could go up north and fucking go hunting crocodiles. If you want to see something very funny, you'll probably find videos of it on YouTube. Probably if you did a search on catching mud crabs by hand. Up in the north of Australia, we have these very big crabs that live in mangrove mud called mud crabs. They're very big and they've got like pincers that look like they could take a toe or a finger off. So there's no fucking about with a mud crab. They have very big, strong-looking claws. But a traditional way to catch that, and I've seen people do it, you'll probably find it on YouTube because crabs tend to burrow into the mud. But mud crabber will say, that's a hole, that's a mud crab hole. And they will just dive into the mud and they will put their whole fucking arm down this hole into the mangrove mud and pull it out. And they've got this huge fucking huge crab in their hand when they come up. Like, what the fuck is that? They're always crazy old dudes. Whether it's an indigenous guy or a Caucasian guy, it's always like some crazy old dude who goes, yeah, I'll catch a mud crab for you. And they just fucking go up to their shoulder in mangrove mud and pull it out. And they've got this huge fucking crab in their hand. It's crazy. Tara, good advice about first aid course. I did a first aid course a long time ago. It needs to be renewed. Oh, and Blazer, I did a holiday to Darwin a few years ago, which is great. If you ever get a chance to go to the tropical north of Australia, fucking do it. Whether it's Queensland, the Northern Territory, or Western Australia, the tropical north is incredible. And just outside of Darwin, there's this boat cruise you can go on called the Jumping Crocodile Tour. What these guys have basically trained the crocodiles, wild, big fucking crocodiles, to to say like, oh, we're going to feed you. And you go out, it's like a ferry, it's a two-story ferry, and you go out on the river, and they've this big pole they put out the side with a bit of meat dangling, and they dangle the meat down in the water to attract the saltwater croc. And when the croc comes for it, then they'll lift the meat up out of the water, and the croc will launch itself out of the water chasing the meat. Now, if the juvenile ones, which from their snout to the tip of their tail is probably like 3 meters, 10 feet, and that's the juvenile ones, and they're kind of skinny, they have enough muscle power. They wriggle all the way out of the water to just the tip of their tail. Like the muscle power required to do that blows my mind. And they wriggle all the way up. But the bigger ones, and by bigger, I mean 5 meters and up. I mean 15 to 25 feet. And these crocodiles weigh, I don't know, a ton, 2 tons. They're fucking huge and terrifying. And because they're so big, they only launch about half their body out of the water, but that's really freaky because they're so fucking big. And the one thing that gets really clear in your head watching this, you're on a boat full of people on a river, and these crocodiles that are so strong, they can launch their whole body out of the water. You know, if I fall off this boat, I am fucked. Like, you're so fucked. Nothing will save you. If you fall into the water where these crocs are, you're over. You are just over. They will get you, and you are not getting away from them. But yeah. Seth, you are right. The city of Darwin was named after Charles Darwin, in fact. Nathan, Reptile Zoo. I've been to the Canberra Reptile Zoo. I agree with you. The Canberra Reptile Zoo is really cool. I went there on a school excursion. Oh, yeah, Charlie, you make a good point. Another thing we have to be concerned about in Australia are the deadly jellyfish that are moving further and further south. There's a couple ones, as you say, the Irukandji and the box jellyfish, and they're moving further and further south. And they are literally, even if they don't kill you, they are hideously painful. And they're not even that big, but they just have these really long, incredibly venomous tendrils. And if they wrap around you, they can easily kill you. And if they don't kill you, it will hurt worse than anything you have ever heard in your life. You know what's happening? I know you're nothing but a pathetic, worthless troll, and you don't actually want statistics to shut down. The actual real statistics, we did this thing about African gang crime problems. The particular group, like the Sudanese youth, they're like 0.1% of the population, but they are appearing in 1% of the crime reports. So proportionally, they're 10 times overrepresented. But in terms of the actual number of crimes, it's like over a couple of years, it was 800 crimes, which is too many. Okay, I don't ever want to suggest that I think it's okay for people to rob and commit crimes and what. But it was like 800 crimes over a couple of years, the overwhelming majority of which were non-violent. Yeah, you know, crime is an issue, but as I said before, anybody who wants to make a scene and say anything as stupid as there is an out-of-control African youth gang crime in Melbourne is a moronic, racist liar. It's as simple as that. And that's all I'm saying on that. Oh, yeah. Oh no, Major Frost, fuck, jellyfish freak me out. I think vinegar works. There's the rumor people used to say pissing on a jellyfish sting worked. Apparently it doesn't, but I think vinegar does work. Vinegar does in fact work. You can buy some stuff from the chemist that's spray that reduces the pain and sting from jellyfish sting, but like it's active. Apparently, its active ingredient is vinegar. But yeah, also Big asterisk. Don't take my word for it. Look it up, because I do remember reading there was one thing that people thought was a cure for jellyfish sting, that if you actually still had the jellyfish tendril on you and you poured this on you, it would make all the stings go off that hadn't already gone off, so it would be worse and would be more painful. So great big asterisk. I'm not an expert, so please don't act on my advice. If you're going to be anywhere where jellyfish are a risk, look up exactly what you need to do to treat the jellyfish sting, or better still, how to avoid a jellyfish sting. That was the other thing in Darwin. Uh, it's basically a pretty bad idea to swim in the ocean around Darwin. It's very warm. The bay, like I did actually go for a swim in Darwin Bay, and it's very warm, and it's got like box jellyfish warnings for like 11 out of 12 months. And I happened to be there at the one time that it wasn't high risk for box jellyfish. And so we asked the local, because my girlfriend at the time had a sister who lived there, saying like, wait, are crocodiles or sharks a risk? And they said, oh, no sharks, the crocodiles ate them all. So we decided we were going to have a swim. We went to Darwin Beach and we were going to have a swim. And it was so shallow. Like we went out like 200 meters and it was still only waist deep. And we thought, okay, we've done it. It felt like a warm bath. And we went in. A week after we went in, someone got stung by a box jellyfish at the same bit of water we were in. So there you go. If you're in Darwin or even just in the tropical north, maybe only go swimming in fresh water. Oh, and Liz, the sting is, what happens with a jellyfish sting? You get really, like they have those really long tendrils that have the stingers all along. The tendrils will attach to your skin. And yes, most of the little stingers will go for tan, but apparently not necessarily all of them have gone off. And if you pour the wrong thing on the tendrils that are stuck to your skin, all the other stingers will go off. Sounds like a real fucking bad idea to me. No, you're right, Seth. The risk of shark attack is really low. And you can lower your risk of shark attack to, even still going in the water, but still be at very low risk of attack. But yeah, man, if you go up north, you've got to be super careful of the crocodiles and the jellyfish and fucking everything. Oh man, La Heretic, you've been eating a box of Krispy Kremes with your brother. You caught up now, though. That's good. Oh, Major Frost, talking about the worst stinging insect being the paper wasp. Have you ever read, there was a scientist who decided to get stung by every stinging insect in the world, traveled the world doing this, and then wrote up how painful the sting was. And so he has this really big list of ants and scorpions and wasps and everything, of what the stings feel like and how painful they are. Man, that is sacrificing yourself for science right there. That is some hardcore shit. So, I'm a wuss. I can't see myself doing that. I really don't see myself subjecting myself to extreme pain in the name of science. But yeah, some people do. So look, there are scientists who deliberately expose themselves to stuff that they think is life-threatening in the name of science, so they can really measure it. Nathan, I'm not surprised at the idea. There was a YouTuber doing the same thing. I think I've seen some of that video. Toby, would AIDSy do that? No, AIDSy has enough pain just in his day-to-day life. He doesn't need to get stung by insects. Also, because he has so many allergies, the risk of him having an allergic reaction to an insect bite is quite high. I mean, after all, he got his necrotizing fasciitis, flesh-eating disease, Fournier's gangrene, from being bitten on the scrotum by an ordinary ant. So I can't imagine he's going to volunteer to be bitten by insects because he's had such a bad experience with it. Tendo, because we're talking about jellyfish, you got super fast jellyfish by gorillas stuck in the head. There's a story I did a video on, it was a couple of years ago, and I deliberately exaggerated it and blew it out of proportion. But there are these giant jellyfish, and they're a real problem in Japan with some fishing boats in that they'll get in the nets. And when I say giant, these things are fucking huge, and they are heavy enough they can actually swamp the boat and sink it. And so I was just making jokes about they were like Godzilla-style monsters that were deliberately attacking the fishing boats and dragging them under, which is, strictly speaking, not true. But yeah, they're big enough that if they get in the nets, they can actually swamp the fishing boat and take it under. Oh, Major Frost, of course, because you're a new viewer, you don't know our friend Aidsy, my video collaborator, who sometimes is on live streams, sometimes is on pre-recorded videos with me. He has had a couple of decades of, or particularly, no, yeah, he's coming up on a couple of decades of really severe illnesses, chronic illnesses, and the biggest was about, I think it was 8 to 10 years ago. He got bitten on the scrotum just by a normal ant, just owl scratch, and an infection got into the bite, which turned into what's called Fournier's gangrene, which is a form of flesh-eating virus. The next morning, his balls had swollen to about this big, which he just thought was impressive. But his then wife said, no, you're going to the hospital. And the hospital said after the fact, if you'd been even an hour later, you probably would have been dead. In fact, we expected you to die. He did die. He died twice. And the second time, they didn't attempt to resuscitate him. But he restarted himself, so they looked after him. Seth, you're nervous about ants. There are a couple of big ants in Australia that are pretty fucking scary. Like they're about this big, and they're a bit scary. A fascinating one, termites, which, okay, not ants. Termites are a different creature, but, you know, we all kind of equate termites and ants. You get these termites up north. They build these huge mounds above ground, and they're not round, they're like angular, and they go magnetic north-south. It's crazy. These termites have some magnetic sense in them, and they build these mounds that are aligned with north-south magnetic poles. It's like, what is that about? What are you doing, nature? What's going on there? Oh, there you go, Nathan. You did a bit of research. Coyote Peterson, channel called Brave Wilderness. He's an animal expert associated with Discovery, and he lets things bite and sting him. There you go. Toby, can you give me a back massage? And I'm not averse to back massages, as long as you don't go for a reach around. Easy way to go for a reach around. Okay, I actually fucked my shoulder up. I've been going to physio, and I don't know. It's weird. You know, my radar's not perfect, but as the physio was doing massage, I don't know. I was thinking, I think he's a guy. That's okay. I don't mind. Gay dude can massage me. I don't care. This is therapeutic massage, but even if it's just, you know, back rubs, I've got so many gay friends. You can't be averse to this sort of thing. Limits your life too much. Oh, Jesus. No, Major Frost. You had a motorcycle crash. Burst one of your testes, and you've got haemophilia. Oh my God, no, that's oh, but the people at the Alfred looked after you, so I like that. Yeah. Oh, Aidsy is just, he hasn't been in hospital for a little while, which is quite the accomplishment for him. And bless, yeah, look, scratch back, massage back. Toby, you think I'd be awesome to massage? Very soft. There's a lot of softness around here. My euphemism for fat. So, you know, there's a lot to grab hold of and massage. Let's just put it like that. It's as simple as that. I'm trying to decide, not completely related or not even slightly related. I'm going out to the White Night Art Festival in Melbourne this weekend. I think I'll wear my kilt. I haven't gone like into the city with a big crowd in my kilt. I've worn my kilt to the local shops. No one's ever said anything to me about my kilt, but I haven't gone into really big crowds. So I think I might wear my kilt to White Night on the weekend. The Heretic, you think the worst thing that's happened to you is your appendix being removed? Let's see. What have I had happen? Probably not even. See that finger there is a bit crooked there. The last bone got smashed by a cricket ball when I was at school. I got hit in the head. Probably my most spectacular misadventure was being hit in the head by a discus when I was at high school, which probably kind of should have killed me, but I got really lucky, and it probably just barely skated off my head, like just glanced, but it felt like someone stood over me with a shovel and went bam. It was really full on. Oh yeah, I wanted to look, Megalich, the middle finger. Here's the thing. You know when you, like, because it was a crush injury, you know when you do that, like if you slam your finger in a door or something, if you hold it down by your side, it throbs. Well, this was, because this was crushed. So it was super throbby and it was bandaged up. So with a heavy bandage, it just stood out like this anyway. And I had to hold it up most of the time or it would just throb and get painful. So my friends at school said they thought it was hilarious because I could get away with walking around like this. And they just go, let's go and talk to the principal. Let's just, oh, look, there's a teacher. Let's just go over and say hello to them. Because they just dragged me in front of the teacher doing this. They thought it was hilarious. I was in like year 10 at the time. I see, Nathan, you almost purchased a utility kit. I got my utility kilt after a chat here. We were talking about gender clothing and whatnot, and kilts came up, and someone said, have you seen utility kilts? And I looked it up, and they looked cool, and I got one, and it's cool, and yeah, I think I'll wear it to White Night. Major Frost saying, is White Night any good? I enjoy it. It's more fun if you're there with friends, and if you don't like crowds, you've got to have a strategy, because between about 10 and 2 a.m., 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., the middle of the city is really horrible crowds, but there are ways around that. Tara, I imagine gender reassignment surgery is fucking painful because they are slicing up bits of you that have a lot of nerve endings. So, Mofi, what about welfare reform? What welfare reform is on your mind? Well, the heretic, my heritage is Scottish. That's my excuse for getting a kilt. Plus, I just look fucking good in it. Yeah, I think I'll wear my kilt to White Night, in fact. Tara, the big question, undies, do you go full Scottish or not? Around the house, I might go full Scottish, but I don't know. If I go out into the world, I don't want to. I don't want to traumatize anyone. But I do actually have some tartan patterned boxer briefs that I got when I was in England last. So I like to wear them under the kilt. So if I have a Marilyn Monroe moment where it blows up, you see my tartan undies. Because I think it's a bit much to subject the outside world to what, well, you know, as the old saying goes, what's worn under the kilt? Nothing. It's all in perfect working order. But I think it's a bit much to subject the outside world to a quick flash from me if a gust of wind catches me unawares. Major Frost, you're Irish, German, British. I'm mainly Irish, Scottish, English. Like maybe if I did a DNA test, there'd be Viking, because my family name comes from the north of Scotland, which a lot of Viking activity up there. So there would definitely be Viking blood in me too. Dottie Ditto, so learning to sit like a lady. Yes, I have to really do that. And remember when I sit down, tuck the kilt down. Don't sort of let it all hang out. Oh, Tara, you've had a dress blow up where you're wearing a G-string, so your bum's out there for the world to see. Yeah, the heretic. Who wants to celebrate their English heritage? Celebrate the Scottish and Norwegian, definitely. That's why I normally say Scots Irish, but almost by definition. Too loud. Mrs. Angry's English. She's just in the next room. He's actually born in England, grew up in England, been here for a couple of decades though. Here's one of these weird coincidences, by the way. I'll just throw this in there. Mrs. Angry and I are coming up on our 13th anniversary. I've been in Melbourne for 20 years now. I'm probably just having my 20th anniversary of being in Melbourne. But prior to that, I lived in Sydney for 10 years. And what we actually worked out is that she was living in Sydney at the same time I was living in Sydney. And there was definitely some crossover in our social circles. So there's definitely a non-zero chance that at some point we were at the same party together, but we didn't actually meet for another 20 years. So it's one of those weird little coincidences when we started talking about, what we did before we met each other. We realized, well, we were in Sydney at the same time. And when we described our social circles, there was definitely some crossover in our social circles. So there's a non-zero chance that we were at the same party at some point, but we didn't actually meet. But we met 20 years later. So yes, La Heretic, it was destiny. It's like, it's destiny. Sorry, Tara. This is just making me laugh. Your wife trying to tell you how to sit properly and how to get out of the car without flashing your knickers. I love that. That's so good. That's fantastic. Oh, Mofo, you wanted to ask me about the Coalition's welfare reform package. Includes proposal may increase payment, waiting times, reduce protection for women fleeing fair. Oh, look, honestly, dude, even without knowing any details, as soon as you say Coalition welfare reform package, I immediately I assume it's fucked. I assume it's shit. I assume they're really garbage. So I don't know the details. Yeah, my immediate assumption is their concept of welfare reform is absolute shit and targeting and victimizing the most marginalized people in our society, which I am not on board with. I'll tell you, say you and your wife met online and later learned you had mutual family. Yeah, I love coincidence. I love when you find these crossings overs. Like, okay, talking about AZ, who's my semi-regular video collaborator. We actually did the same university course. We did a theatre degree long time ago, and I'm a little bit older than AZ. My final year was his first year, so I did know him from university. There was only 25 people in every year course. It was quite a small course. There's a much bigger campus with great big courses, but our theatre course was quite a little module of it. So I did know AZ, but I left uni and I didn't see him again. And then about 10 years ago, I was in line for a show at the Melbourne Comedy Festival, and AZ was directing a show, and the two rooms where they were right next to each other in this laneway, and I'm standing in line for one show, and he's standing in line for the show he's directing. He's sort of talking to line, and he recognized me and came up and said, "Hey, I remember you. We went to uni together." And ever since then, we've hung out. And about 7 or 8 years ago, we started making videos together. Like, we hung out for a while, and then I explained the whole YouTube thing to him, and we started making videos together like 7, 8 years ago. But it was just this really weird chance that I was standing in one line for a show, and he was just over here, and he recognized me standing in the line and came over and said hello. So it's weird. Seth, do you have a thing for Aussie women? Ah, excellent. Well, come over here. Oh, Dottie, you remember the Flinders Street Goths? One of your friend's boyfriends, and you suddenly realised you'd known each other back in the day, but didn't recognise each. That's brilliant. I love that. You were part of the Flinders Street Goths, but you didn't, out of makeup, you didn't know you knew each other. That is absolutely fantastic. I love that so much. Mofo, yes, there is an Australian Unemployed Workers Union. They are good people. I'm sure some of them aren't, but I'm in favour of the Unemployed Workers Union. Major for us, you can't believe the government's not spending more money on important stuff like healthcare, public transport roads. Yes, yes, the lack of spending on infrastructure is terrible. And I could be partisan and say it goes right back to the John Howard years, and the Tories hate spending money on infrastructure. But to be fair, Labor under both Gillard and Rudd did not do an enormous amount to turn around the lack of spending on infrastructure. It is a real problem, and if they don't turn it around, it will start to damage the economy because the roads are so fucked that trucks can't transport stuff, which we kind of need to keep the economy going. So we are way behind in infrastructure spending in Australia. The Heretic, you wonder if politicians trying to take away protections for women has anything to do with the internet shitlords scream about how women lie about being raped. Look, dude, it is not 100% unconnected, I guess. I think they feed off each other. Seth, is there an okay punk scene in Australia? I think there is. I mean, okay, in my youth, that was the kind of scene I was into. But I see some of the young people, just because of the people I interact with on YouTube and stuff, I see the things they're talking about on Facebook and Twitter and whatnot. I think there is still a punk scene in Australia. I think to get a fair answer, you have to talk to someone about 20 years younger than me. But certainly, when I was a young'un, there was quite a decent punk scene in Australia. There was some very good music made in the 70s, 80s that you could broadly put under the punk banner in Australia. I think there's still stuff going on in that scene. I'm just a bit old, quite honestly. I'm a bit old to be part of that. Okay. Major Frost. Here's the big thing I have a problem. You've highlighted milk companies not paying dairy farmers enough. I think there are some problems. Also, okay, I grew up in the country, and I was used to it was a completely regulated market when I was young, and honestly, the farmers then milked it for anything it was worth. But now it got completely deregulated, and I feel like some of the dairy farmers, look, farmers generally tend to be on the conservative side of things, but I feel farmers generally, and dairy farmers specifically, probably need to embrace the idea of union style organization. It doesn't have to be unions, but it has to be some sort of collective organization. Because see what happens. Why are the big supermarkets, Woolworths and Coles, able to drive the price of milk down so far? It's because somebody is selling it to them at that rate. So at some point, you have to have a collectivization to say, okay, this doing cut price stuff and undercutting each other is not sustainable long term. You'll get these big, horrible factory farms that produce low quality stuff, and quality produce will get squeezed out of the market. So I feel like farmers generally, but dairy farmers specifically who are getting squeezed, need to look at some form of sort of collective bargaining and saying, okay, look, none of us are going to sell to you unless it's this price. Because at the moment, everyone's getting bent over and butt fucked by capitalism, basically. And it grates a bit with me because, like I said, I grew up when farming was completely regulated, where in a good year, the farmers would keep all the profits, and in a bad year, the farmers would be subsidized by taxpayers, which was a bit fucking annoying. But I think, Major Frost, you're probably hitting the nail on the head that the pendulum has swung too far, and the prices being dictated by people like Woolies and Coles are too low. But seriously, you're going to have to get into some form of collective bargaining, which I know is anathema to a lot of people in the farming world. So, yeah. Dotty, Flinders Street Cops broke up because the emails followed you around. Oh my fucking God. That does sound like it sucks. They wouldn't talk to you, but they just hung around ruining the mood. Oh my God, that really sounds like it sucks, Dotty. Oh my God. I was never really a scene kid, but I was kind of like into 80s new wave and stuff. Seth, you were born in 82. You were a teen in the 80s punk scene. I mean, okay, well, fucking no, I wasn't a teen. Well, I was. I was a teen and into my 20s in the 80s. And there was some good stuff going around in the 80s, definitely. Major Frost, you were raised on country. I was probably raised on country and really shitty AM radio pop music. Finally, when I got to college, I got a more diverse range of music, like some indie music. I used to listen to goth and new wave, things like The Cure and Sisters of Mercy, Jesus and Mary Chain, stuff like that from the 80s. Toby, saved by the angry sacraments. Of course, the angry cult will save us all, quite honestly. Heretic, you only like goths who took down the filthy Romans. Oh, Nathan, I went to one TISM show back in the day. Okay, here's a fun story. Because it's almost 10 o'clock. I'm going to close off with this. But this is a bit of Oz pop music art history. For those who don't know, TISM is a band called This Is Serious Mum. And they were very fucking weird. They were big in the late 80s, early 90s. They were very hard to define. There was a lot of humor in their songs, and a lot of sarcasm, a lot of very dark, arty stuff. But they would do very, very, very strange shit. So I went to see one of their shows. I think it was like the Saturday Night Palsy tour. It was the album they had released at that stage was called Great Trucking Songs of the Renaissance. And I went to see them, and this is why a lot of what This Is Serious Mum did was performance. It wasn't just about the songs; it was art and performance. There was a support act. I don't even remember who they were, but the support act played, and then TISM did not come on for about an hour. Like, the audience was getting really antsy. The audience was really sort of, why the fuck are they not coming on? And the audience was getting really fucking antsy because it was a full house. And eventually they came on. And what the TISM guys tended to do, they would wear masks. They would wear costumes that included masks. They never showed their faces. They'd wear balaclavas or some sort of mask. And so they all came on, and they would also do poems. So they came on and did a poem. One guy recited this poem, and the rest of them were just standing in a line, humming, going, oh. And this one guy did a poem, and they did that. And of course, the people had been answering, and they did the poem, and then they walked off. That was it. They did one poem and walked off, and they were gone for like 10 minutes. which was enough for the audience to start to suspect they weren't going to come back again. And the audience started getting antsy again. And then they burst back on and did their actual set. So they were very much into performance and anti-performance and art and anti-art at the same time. Yeah, Seth, Bogan is basically redneck. It's not exactly the same, but Bogan is basically red. Yes. Um, uh, the other thing Tism did in this live set, like I said, the single they'd released at the time was Saturday Night Palsy. Now, half the guys on the stage, all they were doing was dancing. Like the drums and the rhythm was pre-recorded. Like there was someone with a synthesizer, and they had the whole rhythm track pre-recorded they were playing. And there were guys playing guitar live, and there's a guy playing keyboards live, but drums and rhythm were pre-recorded. And one of the guys who was dancing at semi-regular periods will come up to the audience, and he's got, this is in the days of vinyl, so he's got the 7-inch vinyl single of Saturday Night Palsy, and he's holding it out to the audience like, does someone want this? Does someone want this? And the audience is going, woo, woo, throw it to me, throw it to me. And he would snap the record in half and then throw it out to the audience. He did that like half a dozen times. I've got to go too, Major Frost. I'll be gone soon. Thank you for dropping by. Hope you had a good time. So yeah, Tism were, yeah, they're a little bit Devo. I saw the reference to them being a bit there. They were art and anti-art, performance, anti-performance. But yeah. Tara said, breaking, Turnbull has confirmed Barnaby Joyce is taking period of leave. Yes, I knew he was doing that. So the Deputy Lib Leader, Matthias Cormann, aka the Terminator, will be acting Prime Minister next week. Turnbull's going to be away. Okay, everyone, look, it's 10 o'clock. Yeah, I'm going to go. A musical aviator, White Knight. I'm going to start the night hanging out on the State Library lawn, so you might find me there. Tabby, angry without Aussie is blasphemy. I like that. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for dropping by. I hope to see you again soon. I'll try and do another video tomorrow. I might be able to get AZ on for the weekend for a live stream. Who knows? But you're all wonderful people. I look forward to seeing you again soon. And I will catch up with you another time. Bye now.